Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Emma's Market Spotlight on Colombia. Lovely to see so many of you here. My name is Michelle Ronquillo, and I am Emma's event manager. Just a little bit about us. Within Emma, we unite music managers organizations across 16 European countries, which represent more than 3,000 managers across Europe. We've made it our mission to strengthen European managers globally through our Empower program, which encompasses education, advocacy, networking, and research. Empower is a project co-founded by the European Union. If you want to know more about us, or if you want to stay up to date with the upcoming events, make sure to visit our websites, follow us on social media, sign up to our newsletter. I will put all the links in the chat. Also, a quick reminder that at the end of the session, there will be log of Zoom. When you log off Zoom at the end of the session, there will be a very brief survey. So please take a moment to fill it out, as your feedback is very important for us to improve our upcoming events. Also, there will be time for some questions. Please write them in the chat. And if there are any questions that resonate with you, please give it a thumbs up or a heart emoji so we know that you want that to be answered. We'll make our best to get all questions answered. And I'm going to share the agenda of today. Today's session will be moderated by Jess Patridge, Emma's Executive Director, and we are in very good company. We have a lot to cover, so I'm gonna take much more of your time. Jess, over to you.
Thanks so much, Michelle, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry if my voice is a little cracked up today. I'm a little bit ill and feeling under the weather, but I have some wonderful speakers who will be doing all of the speaking for me anyway. So before I introduce them all, as normal, we have a brilliant presentation of the market so we can get a better idea of the market before we delve into some of the details. So Felipe, can I just get you to introduce yourself, and then if you could say more about the market, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jess and Michelle. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation, and thanks everyone for joining us and for interested in knowing a bit more on our market on Colombia. I'm Felipe Jaramillo. I'm currently director for BIME, which is a marketplace for Iberian música en español. We've been in Bilbao for 13 editions, and we are currently holding our 4th edition next week here in Bogota. We expect around 2,500 delegates, and we have around 200 speakers and over 62 artists performing in our showcases next week. So it's very exciting. And one of our guests is Andreas Katsambas, which happens to be president for Chartmetric, which is a great tool that all of us use. And Andreas made a spotlight on Colombia for us today, which I'm happy to share today with you. And this is like a great news for everyone because we hadn't seen this before. So without further ado, let's get into what Chartmetric has got for us today, which are called Colombian Music Stats. So the first is the 30,000 artists in the platform. 3 of them are already considered on the legendary category, which are the main act, maybe it's Carlos Vives, and then Grupo Nietzsche, which are all the resurgence from salsa right now is probably in one of the prime moment in Colombia right now, and Binomio de Oro, a legendary band from the vallenato genre. Then on the Chartmetric, we have 29 superstars in this category. In the 90s, we had 2. So this has been one of the biggest explosions that we've had right now. The next category, which is also extremely interesting, is mainstream. 128 mainstream artists, which means mainly the internationally touring artists, because one of the particularities we have here in Colombia is that touring around Colombia is not a big business, and it's not something that the artists do quite often. So having 128 mainstream artists right now means that there are Colombian artists globally everywhere in the world right now. And then you see the next data. This one is pretty surprising for everyone. Colombia is the sixth largest audience in the world for YouTube, ninth in Instagram, 13th on Spotify, and seventh on TikTok. So we are huge consumers of digital platforms and streaming. So this also makes the movement really big for Colombian artists and what happens particularly in Spotify and YouTube and how that consumption goes. We have our biggest trigger city as Chartmetric defines them, which is Bogota. We have a high population. We have almost 10 million, including suburbs, and we have huge music streaming and a very diverse taste. It's where every single region of Colombia is represented in Bogota, and that's why Bogota is a trigger city and will also be the main city to visit when we're coming in Colombia. Medellin is also really important. Medellin dominated or still dominates and produce large amounts of the urban scene. You know? Then we have a bit of what's going right now on radio and tracks. I'm going to go fast through this. Our demographics or how they show. Which is very interesting and right now on the gender side, seeing this statistic, which is not often, and then we have artists which are performing the largest live events around the globe. So many of the new acts that you know, maybe the biggest one right there that shows in fourth place is Karol G, that she did the biggest Latin tour that a female artist has done in history. We have other, this is interesting how this is where Colombian artists go out and tour, that mainly the US is the main market for Colombian artists. And then Spain and the other, which is Europe, is the second most important markets. And Mexico, there's still a huge connection between Colombia and Mexico permanently right now. This is right now the spotlight on what's going on March. The Rising Stars, which is Obi on the drums. A big producer for Karol G, turned into artist. So now as an artist is really growing. BL, which is an artist has been around about 4 years, coming from Cartagena. This new music is coming from different cities than Medellin, to cities to watch out, more like Cali and Cartagena and Barranquilla, which are extremely musical cities. Then Ryan Castro, which is an urban artist, Blessed urban artist, and Capo, which is a new global superstar coming out from Cali, and moving forward from the urban scene into more an Afrobeat scene, which is what we're seeing right now in the country. The foreign artists that we have that resonate here in Colombia right now, all of them are urban artists. The whole top 50 for Spotify in Colombia is, I would say, from the 50 songs, 47 are urban. And out of those 47 songs, maybe 30 something would be Colombian artists. No? So it's a huge local consumption from our audience. And here is the information from Andreas from Chartmetric. This is really good. Andreas is a great guy. So if you want to sign up for the newsletter or send Andreas an email, you can get his info here. As I said, he's a great guy and he'll reply with anything you might need and we want to talk about. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was super, super interesting, and really laid some great foundations for our conversation for sure. We'll be sending out the presentation with the recording in a couple of weeks, so just prepare for that. And then, yeah, let's introduce the rest of the panel. And so it would be great if you could all tell me a bit more about what you do and your experience in the Colombian music market. I'm going to start with Camilla. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for for being here with us to join us this amazing conversation. I'm Maria Camila Bernal. I'm part of the team of Paramo Presenta as a marketing director. And I've been working also with Netflix and ABI and Anheuser-Busch leading music strategy for our agencies. So nice to meet you all.
Thanks so much. Violetta?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Violeta Parra de Moya. I'm the head of Bogota Music Market, which is one of the latest conferences in Colombia. We're really focused on national and local talent and professionals. And we'll be holding our conference in September from the 9th to the 12th in Bogota.
Great. Get that one in your diaries. And Felipe?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the invite. I run a small record label, independent. It's called Pollen Records. It's been almost 20 years, and I'm in like developing artist.
Nice. We'll have many, many questions about that for sure. And Camila?
For having me here. My name is Camila. I'm CEO and founder of M3 Music. M3 Music is a management company. We manage Bomba Stereo, Santiago Cruz, The Plat, and many other emerging artists. We also have a record label, an indie record label, and a publishing company. So we do the 360, the 360 business. Yeah, good to be here and share anything I can.
Great, thank you so much. And please feel free to share your links in the chat so everyone can kind of follow up a little bit more on where you work and what you do. Definitely would appreciate that. It's always easier to have a look through afterwards and really get to grips with everything. Cool. So when we do these sessions, we generally start with live and looking at the live market, because that is often the first kind of experience for a lot of artists when they go to a new country. It's often exported through live. So yeah, it would be great to get a bit of an idea of how the Colombian live market works, especially for kind of newer artists. Felipe, I know that you're a label, but you're into developing talent, and I'm sure you're watching a lot of live artists at the moment. What is the live scene like? Is there a lot of opportunities for independent artists? Are there a lot of small venues where people can test out the waters when they come over, or how does it look?
Yes, there are a lot of venues, but still, I think we can have more and more. But I'm not quite sure I'm the best person in this room to answer your question.
Absolutely. Does anyone else want to jump in, Camila or Felipe?
I can also.
Go, Baca.
Well, the most popular venues that we are working on as a promoter here in Colombia, maybe Movistar Arena is huge venue and very nice one. Actually, they already have like some awards regarding the experience there. This is the one, the most nice ones we have here, but also we have stadiums in all the cities, huge ones. But another ones that are smaller, that for example, Royal Center or theaters like, oh, I forgot the names. Delia Zapata is one that is beautiful one, and is in the center of the city. And also the other one, I forgot it, the theater. Like
In
one
Jorge
next
Luis
to
Gaitán,
Jorge Eliezer Gaitán, exactly. Thank you.
well,
So I think we have many kinds of venues in different kinds of sizes, from the most small ones to the huge ones that maybe can hold like 50,000 people, that are the biggest ones.
And
yeah,
sorry.
If you don't mind, I could complement what Maria Camila said, because I think it will be also interesting for the audience to understand that we have like three big ranges of venues where you have the big ones, the ones that she already mentioned. Also, this includes for big festivals, the Parque Simón Bolívar, which hosts one of the biggest festivals in the city, starting from the public festivals to the private events. And also on the medium, you'll have like all the venues and theaters in that are mainly owned by the government, Ministry of Culture, local government administered by IDARTES, which is like the institution that administrates those venues. This includes Teatro Jorge Eliezer Gaitán, that can host more than 1,400 people. You have Centro Nacional de las Artes, which is where we host our market, which has three three scenarios, starting with Delia Zapata Olivella, that is around 470 seats. Also holding the iconic Teatro Colón, which is an old theater from the 19th century, early 20th century. Like, it's an iconic scenario for the city, where you have more like around 800 seats, and a new venue that is called La Sala Fanny Mique, which is a black box, more multifunctional and multi-format venue, which I think is very interesting, especially for formats more focused on electronic or like new, like that are mixing or that want to explore the audiovisual. And that spans to other theaters. We have, like, in the north, we have Julio Mario Santo Domingo. We have Media Torta, and that's like another layer of scenarios. And then you have all the independent, more focused on like 1,000 and 300 venues, like a 300 people venues, where there's another, and they're more focused on they are more focused on the independent scene, I will say.
Great. And so, sorry, when planning a tour or when thinking about coming to Colombia, what things would you recommend people think about? I mean, things are there cities that are better for specific genres? For instance, I saw that Cali had some elements that were specific genres. Can you enlighten us to where it might be better to go?
If you're coming from abroad, if you're touring internationally into Colombia, Bogota will be your main market. Whatever your genre is. If you're mainstream, Bogota is the biggest market. But if you're an independent, small artist and you want to do a 400 people venue, Bogota still will be the market. Touring around Colombia, as I said, is not that easy unless you get into the programs of a couple of theaters. What we know, you can line up a couple of venues to do it, Bogota and Medellin. For an international artist going further than Medellin, it's even more difficult. Cali is great. The music scene is amazing, but there are no hard ticket venues selling in the city now that for an international artist to come. There's not such a big audience for that sort of act. And then, and I think also Violeta can help us a lot with that, and Maria Camila can help us a lot with that, are the festivals. We have huge festivals that we have here and are the pivot for international artists to come down. So the city of Bogota holds the Al Parque series, which the most famous is Rock Al Parque, which has been around for over 25 years, and it's 4 days, 200,000 people, 7 different stages. It's awesome for the rock genre, and we have all the Al Parque series. And then Maria Camila with Paramo, they hold the Stereo Picnic and more the Stereo Picnic, which is a huge international festival, one of the top Latin American festivals right now here in Colombia. And there we have they have mainly international artists. Around 70% of the artists are international. So that's also a great pivot to come into Colombia through the festivals. And then the theaters, as Violeta said, they all have their own programming. The Teatro Mayor Santo Domingo, Teatro Col Subsidio, Teatro Jorge Luis Gaitán. They all have their own cycles, and that could be also a way into the market.
Nice. Yeah. Festivals are always a great shout. If there are any areas where you can find, I don't know, a list of venues or a list of festivals or anything, it would be really interesting to share that with our audience if you can. But in the meantime, Camila, you as a manager are working in the live area all the time. What differences do you see in the Colombian market, like working with Colombian promoters and venues and things? What's unique to the Colombian market, and what advice would you give others who are kind of coming into it as well?
Yeah, I think as Felipe was saying, Colombia is a difficult market to tour. Logistically, it's difficult as well. You have to fly everywhere, and it's expensive. So I would say focus on Bogota and mainly Medellin, which are the main markets. I think the rest of the markets are still a bit too small especially for smaller artists. I think something that could work is try to find collaborations with Colombian artists. If you're a European artist and you want to come here, try to collaborate with Colombian artists, maybe plan a tour together. I know there are many Colombian artists that want to tour in Europe. So I think it's something that if you're a manager and you find an artist or a band that's similar to what you're managing and you offer, why don't we plan a tour in Latin America and then we can plan a tour in Europe? That's something that for me as a manager, that would be interesting, because I have a lot of emerging artists here as well. And that could be something interesting for me to receive and say, okay, well, that could work. We can work on a song together. We can release the song and then plan a tour, Latin America and Europe, something like that. And also, I think it's important to see nowadays Latin America as a whole market, not just Colombia. I think it makes more sense to spend flights from Bogota to Lima than from Bogota to Cartagena, and which is another city in Colombia. And probably it's going to be cost the same, but you're going to get a bigger market if you go to Lima or if you go to Mexico, and then you can do the whole routing. Thinking on, even though like distances are long, because traveling from Bogota to Buenos Aires, for example, is like a 7 or
Quite
8
far.
hour flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like in Europe you can just jump on a train and go from Berlin to somewhere else, But I think you should look at the market as a Latin market more than just a Colombian market. And yeah, I think collaborating with local artists works. And it's a cool opportunity. I think that's something that's interesting. I receive all the time requests from European artists, American artists, like we want to collaborate with Bomba, for example. And we've done it, Sometimes we don't even know the artist, or they may be like smaller artists, but artistically or music wise, it works, and we've done it. And I think it's a good experiment to try to. That's a good way to enter the market.
Interesting. And just quickly on that, what makes you say yes? Like what's an interesting proposition to you when it comes to those collaborations and those suggestions?
Well, I think the artistic part is very important.
Sure.
With Bombasteria, I remember we received one from Africa, and it was a very like the music, they loved it, and it just didn't matter that much if the numbers were great or not. It was more like artistically, it was a good match. So I think that's like the first criteria you have to look into if the artist likes it. Um, and then, of course, you look at the numbers, you look at the markets where they're working, So if for me, I'm looking to open the Spanish market in Spain or whatever, France, then I look at the numbers and say, oh, this artist is working in France. Maybe it could be a good idea to do a collaboration. But I think the artistic part is the most important one to look into. Otherwise, it's going to be a forced collaboration and it's not going to work.
Sure. So can any of you shed some light, not many more questions on live, I promise. Shed some light on what to expect. So if you are coming to Colombia, you're playing maybe a 300-person venue, so one of the smaller ones. What do you expect in terms of what you'll get at the venue? Do they have backline? Do they have do you get looked after? What kind of fees can you expect? Are there good ticket sales, or are they mostly free shows? Like what can anyone shed some kind of light on those elements?
I don't
I
know.
think you have. I'll give you. There's a great small venue that does a great job right now, which is called De La Piña Studios, and it belongs to one of the biggest rental companies. So they have like a small black box that can hold up to 600 people, and there you would find like very nice PA and backline, and they would have everything in hand. Then if you go into a deeper side of the city, for those 300 you will only find like a main PA and just not too much backline you would find in there. And in terms of fees, you're in a couple of thousands of euros, not the lowest on what you can get and you can expect there in those sort of venues. If you're going those urban hard ticket venues now, if you're going more into the what Violeta mentioned, the Delia Zapata, and you're part of the programming of some sort of that would have different ranges, and you can go into the 5,000, 6,000, 8,000 euros tops. It's difficult to break even with an international artist. One of the venues, the 20 Jorge Eliezer Gaitan, which is 2,200 seats, it's difficult to break even with an artist above with the cost above 18,000 euros. No, so that's why the bringing someone from abroad is very expensive for us.
Start with festivals.
There are small venues, really cool small venues also. What Felipe just mentioned is true. It's difficult to break even, but Mecánica Popular or Matic Matic are also really interesting places to perform and share music with others.
Nice.
And I think a recommendation there is try to identify. I know this might sound like a local, like a commonplace, and I know Jess, you sort of warn us about that. But I have to say it, like you have to identify those players, those local players. For example, I would say Alex Lesmes, if you want to have like a starting point as a good contact. I've just shared, since we work a lot with or we offer our services to local entrepreneurs, and this includes the venues and the bars. I've shared directory for professionals, the international and the local and national, and that I think will be a good starting point. We usually have at our market around the ones that are focused on live music, around 35 professionals that are just programming from like Bogota and the rest of the country. So that will be like a good starting point to sort of, make some phone calls and try to like see if there's like, if you can go on a co-production or like try to find like a deal. I'm gonna say a business. I'm gonna say the first, like if you plan a tour, like your first tour, don't expect, and it's usually for us, like for Colombian talent as well in Europe, like don't expect to be um, on like the positive numbers. I will say that take it more to like as an investment and sort of start identifying those players. And as I mentioned before, public players here are really important because they could be like the big, like the date that I might be able to bring you to Bogota, you know?
Yeah.
And also another thing that is important in with that is like here we are more how you say it, like more spontaneous in a sense that like you might have the chance if you have a big date with one of those big players and like those institutional players I'm mentioning, you could like and if you already know like how like the network around or like the venues around, you could make some phone calls and try to find a second or a third date, of course in a smaller venue, or with a smaller producer or promoter, but I like is possible, you know, we're not that close when it comes to dates. I'm gonna say that there is flexibility there, and that's also something that could help.
That's really, really good to note. Some countries are very, very in advance, and it's kind of hard to get anything like, yeah, too close. So it's good to know that there's some spontaneity there, some opportunity for booking
And a
extra.
small format, you know, like if you probably you have like a big format, you know, main with a band or something like that, but if you have like DJ set, things like that, that's also good
Then
because
you,
there's also like all the like just the all the bars that you could, you know, it's good because promotion for you is getting to know other audiences, is like exposure. Why not?
I think, yeah, I think it's really good to recommend as well that if you are interested in this market, then heading to BIME or BOM are a really good starting point for meeting some people, understanding it before you take your artists there or before you really investigate that. It's definitely one of those markets that, especially from with us so far away, it's worth the investment first to understand it before you bring everyone else in, for sure. So, Felipe, sorry, let's come back to developing artists in Colombia and what that looks like, and especially for independent artists, what is the label and kind of publishing scene? Are they working with international acts? Is it a vibrant, exciting place to be right now?
It is, and I'm still surprised that after 20 years or more, still interesting, still vibrant. No, there is like the countries is divided in some regions, you know, like Choco, the Atlantic coast, the plains, Bogota, Medellin, etc. And there's really interesting scenes, like in singer-songwriters. It's
Hmm.
coming. It's a interesting. There's a lot of music coming from the Pacifico, not only marimba but also electronic scene called exotico. There's a small scene but growing. I think really interesting on indigenous music, um,
Very
and
cool.
that so there's a bunch of new music. Of course, the alternative Bogota scene is I think the most vibrant and interesting for all. But we kind of know that already. And yeah, it's always a challenge, but it's been growing, and there are more venues like in these small places, and they're better equipped. You know, everybody has made like an effort, and they are very collaborative. Yeah, I think it's still
They
very
collaborate. Do they collaborate internationally often? Like,
absolute. Absolutely. A lot of artists coming and recording with local artists, and absolutely, and with Africa a lot, and with different, but with different, yeah, very different people.
nice. Um, it would be great to understand a little bit more about what's attractive to you and to others when it comes to those collaborations. I mean, I know that you were saying earlier, Camilla, for that question about just the music being right, but I'm really thinking about how people are reaching out and what they need to say to you and what is most interesting to you. Are there certain trends at the moment? Are there sounds that I know that you're talking about singer-songwriters here and there, but when you're talking about your work, what are you seeing right now?
I think Pipe Alvarez, I think you're the best
Yeah,
A&R
sorry,
here.
I'm sorry, I was talking to Felipe, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Well, as Camila said, also it's a matter of aesthetics, and try to find, you know, time. It's very interesting how things grows with time. We sometimes do a collaboration like in 4 days, like let's and it happens super quick. But if we plan ahead, sometimes it's super interesting. I'm working in diverse collaboration with I don't know, 4 or 5 different countries around. So, but I think basically it's about the music, you know, and the connection with the other artist and the,
Of course. No, of course. So is there anything that you see from, I know that you said, again, Camilla, that there's a lot of artists looking to collaborate with Europe, but is there anything they're particularly looking from outside of Colombia? Like, are there particular countries they're very keen to go to, or anything that's like very exciting for them, or like different genres that are they looking for, particularly like European hip hop or something like that, so that we can think about? Are there any trends that you're seeing in that area? I mean, and anyone can answer this, but Camilla as well, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think it depends a lot on the music and the artist as well. Of course, there are markets that are always better for Latin artists than others. Spain, I would say, the UK, you know, the US Latin market is also huge. So I think what I was saying before, you aim to collaborate with artists that have big numbers in those markets.
Sure.
For example, Germany, and it's something that I know works a lot for us and for many Latin artists as well, which people wouldn't think about, but it does work a lot. So yeah, I would say like
That's interesting.
find the right markets, find, as Felipe was doing this before, like the chart metric, you know, going to find the data, find the numbers, and understand what works. Because I wouldn't say like there's specific genre or a specific market that works. I would say it depends on your artist and what you're looking for.
Is it quite data led then? Are you
Yeah,
looking?
I think I would say like, I mean, for me, most of the decisions we make are definitely data driven, you know, like you have to look at the data and you have to look at the numbers, and sometimes you find things you wouldn't imagine, you know. We have a Cuban artist, an American Cuban artist, and she's huge in Indonesia. Because like she participated in one of those like reality shows, like music shows,
Mhm.
and she's huge. So we're like, okay, let's spend some money there and find that if there's a potential market for us there, and there is. So if it wasn't for the data, we would have never known that Indonesia would be a huge market for us. So I think it's, you know, data is important all the time, and data exists, and data exists here in Colombia, and it exists in Latin America, and I think once you see the numbers, you understand, oh, that's where I should go, you know, and it can be Colombia, it can be Peru, it can be, you know, like even Bolivia, which is a small country, but if you find something that's going on there, well, aim for that. I would say data is very important.
Yeah, interesting. So yeah, present your data, get your data in line before when you're reaching out. That's definitely a great
Yeah.
tip. Maria Camilla, in terms of marketing, what is specific to the Colombian market? Like what are you seeing? And I'm thinking specifically of all of these artists coming to Colombia internationally and thinking, oh no, we have to actually promote it. We have to promote what we're doing really well. What is the advice you give to them? What is important to note about the Colombian space?
Sure. I think you can land a lot of strategies, but I think the most important one are the first one, as Camila and Felipe mentioned, regarding doing some collaborations here. I think are the most powerful things you can do here. And also participate in festivals that, I mean, Colombian people love live, the live scene that we have created here. So we have seen actually how artists that was part on our or in any festival, and after that they are going into radio stations. So I think it's a great way to really see the market and then see how the live show explodes in other channels with influencers, radio stations, and other like word of mouth that people start doing after the live show. So this is very nice way to do that. And also trying to do like localized content. I don't know, maybe shout outs in Spanish with a few words in Spanish. People will be very engaged with that. So trying to do things in content as Felipe Jaramillo mentioned at the beginning with TikTok, Instagram, YouTube actually also that it is huge in Colombia. Maybe like 37 million people is in YouTube using YouTube daily. So it's a huge platform here. So try to land with any kind of content that it will be good received. I actually going to share with you a video that we have done with Parcels. For example, Parcels come for Festival Estéreo Picnic. Parcels was actually a band that was not too huge here in Colombia, but after we did a video with them for the video of the announcement video for the festival, for Festival Estéreo Picnic, the song was from Parcels. And then after that, they came and we did a side show with them before the festival and during the festival. And after the festival, we shoot this video that I'm going to share with you. And now we can see Parcels in radio. We can hear, sorry, Parcels in radio. So I think it was a great strategy that since the beginning to the end to make this band like being so hot here in the country. So I think this kind of things can help. I'm going to share the video. Hold on.
That's incredible. That's such a brilliant way of doing things. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It's really important to think about your Spanish, obviously. I mean, we're all sat here speaking in English, but it's very important, right, to consider doing your posts in Spanish and maybe building your audience through using Spanish.
Exactly. There it is, the video. It was after the festival. So it just was part of positioning the band here. So it's amazing because it's an innovation for us actually, like trying to strengthen our relations with our artists. So it's amazing.
Amazing. And is radio still really important for the market in Colombia? Is it something that we still
Sure.
see? Yeah.
It's still super important. I mean, there is like, for example, La X or Los 40 Principales. They are the most important ones, the mix, but mix is for urban music. But I think La X for European artists will be a great partner here. And we work a lot with them. And I think they done a really great job in being actually relevant nowadays.
Thanks. Great. So we're coming to near the end, and I just wondered if each of you could quickly share like something for our audience to check out. So I know I said in my email, just something, a starting point, somewhere that you think are doing a really great job. It could be a venue, it could be a radio station, it could be a platform, a festival, but just like what should people go away and check out right away? Apart from obviously all your wonderful companies that you have already shouted out. But do you mind if I start with you?
Oh, no. Well, here I'm gonna stole Felipe Alvarez's answer, but I'm gonna say what the independent labels are doing. I think they're a great I'm gonna say I'm an art historian, so I usually used a little bit of terms from the art scene. They're like the great galleries, you know, the great catalogs for to understanding the Colombian independent scene. Um, I think that will be a very very good starting point. You will find them in the catalog I shared. So yeah, reach out, listen to the music, because then you'll find from like it's a very ranges from urban, from for Latin, new folk, even like the new urban here in Colombia is huge and is very diverse and it has very unique threads. So yeah, start there will be like a good thinking
Great.
about collaborations and thinking about identifying players that could, you know, you could collaborate with.
Thank you. Camila?
Yeah, I would say, like look I would say small. We have a lot of talent here in Colombia. I think that's what we have the most. So find smaller artists. Don't aim for the huge ones, because it's always like
Do you have
you
a
always look.
recommendation of where they could find smaller artists so they could just dig in straight away? No?
I think, well, I mean, go to Spotify, do your research. I think I don't know
Sure.
if there's a place where they're all, like united, but like I
No,
mean,
I'm just thinking
you
like
could.
a platform that has great artists on it. Like,
mm,
I don't know, a magazine that you like to read that recommends great artists or something like that. So they've got something concrete.
I
yeah,
will
I
say
don't
for
know.
that, content creators. For example, there's the Enemigo, which is a great content creator, and I think he's done like a good 360 of like the independent scene. So it will be easier to identify them. He will be a good one. Yeah, I could list some more, but yeah, those ones
Nice.
will be like
That's a great one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Felipe? Oh, sorry.
I will start. um, I would. There's very interesting venues. There's uh, there's um there's a growing scene in like Pascasia or even Matic as I mentioned, um, and there's a scene that I think would be very interesting, like in mm, music with nature or indigenous music, or I think definitely check it out. It's just growing, but I think it will be very nice for this next few years.
Nice. Maria Camille? I know you actually suggested quite a few already, but please go ahead.
Yeah.
It's been great.
No, I think the opportunities are a lot actually. So don't hesitate to reach us and any other questions you have. I think we can be more specific in any channels or names that you maybe need. I will be open to respond your
I have a
messages.
couple of questions from the audience, which we'll get to in 2 seconds, but yeah, definitely. And Felipe, how,
I would emphasize what Camila said first. Like, Colombia is it's a central hub where you can just jump into Colombia and then do the rest of your routing. So, although it's not a huge market for that, we have many cities to get deep into. It's a great hub to travel. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the festivals. When we're talking about the Estadio Picnic goes along with the Lollapalooza Fest in Chile, Argentina, and Brazil. So there you have a 3 week programming of that. Then there's the theater level, as we spoke, and the smaller venues. So I think you would find in the different tiers you'll find nice opportunities, but always looking into coming into Colombia and somewhere else. No, the same as we do when we travel to Europe. We cannot go in just into a single city because
no, of
there
course.
it will be no good.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. So yeah, I'm just gonna take a few questions from the audience now. If you have any others, please put them in the chat. So first of all, how does your booking system work? Do the booking agents email/call to the venues? Just wondering the approach.
I don't know if Maca wants
Abby.
to answer, but I can
Yes.
say like, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I think you can reach us. As I'm a contact here in Paramo, we have an area of booking that actually are like the founders of the company. So I think we can get a strong relationship with them pretty easy, as we are interested in finding new talents all the time. Like, I mean, we have a lot of opportunities, so we are all the time like bringing new artists to the country. So it will be nice to talk. Camille, I don't know if you want to compliment.
I mean, most of the shows we do are with Paramo, so that's why I preferred you to answer. But I think there's also like smaller booking agents here, promoters more than booking agents. I think booking agents, they're not that many. There are a few though, but you can search for the promoters, you know, like there's promoters that do shows in smaller venues. There's smaller festivals as well, you know, like I don't know, Festival Centro. There's other like smaller festivals you can aim towards. I would say Paramo are like the huge ones, the most important ones, the ones that bring the international artists. But if you're an emerging artist, I think you should aim for like maybe smaller promoters, and you can find them online. You know, like it's just go online and find promoters in Colombia, and I'm sure you can find them. And the routing that Felipe was saying, you know, like try to do the festival routing, which is like the logical routing to do the whole Latam region. But yeah, I think more than finding a booking agent here, I would aim for finding the right promoters in each city or each country you're going to.
Fair. And we always say in order to find the right promoters is really look at the artists who are quite similar to you and then check out who's promoting them. Use that as your starting point. That's always the best bet when you're looking for promoters that fit your style. So yeah, do your research first. And do you need visas to play live in Colombia? Did any of you have any insights into the visa situation?
I replied to that one. You can also do it through an invitation letter if you're coming in through a festival or a cultural activity. If you need a proper working visa when you have a large scale format, and then you can do it through an invitation letter for the smaller things.
Great. So your promoter would just be able to provide that for you?
Yes, promoter will provide a visa. And it works like a sort of like a waiver.
Sure. We have the same in the UK pretty much. And do you have any advice for someone trying to find a booking agent who books in Latin America for rock/reggae?
Well, there's always Local Parque, you know, like I would say Local Parque is a good festival. And I've seen many, for example, maybe it's not rock, it's more metal, but I've seen metal bands come and play in Local Parque that they've never played before. Um, Reggae, I don't know if there's a reggae promoter. I don't know if the rest of the people know here, but I'm not really sure.
No worries. It's pretty specific. But I would just, yeah, keep researching and finding other artists that are similar and look at who they work with. Reach out to them first. Okay.
Well, there's
Sorry.
someone that could be interesting is that music agency, which is an agency located in Malmö, in Sweden.
Really.
It's owned by a Colombian professional, Juan Sebastián Ortiz de Saldumbide. And he's actually connecting, since Camila mentioned Rocal Parque, I know he does this. He's actually connecting Europe with Colombia and Latin America. So I think it will be a good starting point. I know it's like the all the way around. But he for sure will like sort of connect you with like the whole scene here. So he's a good contact to reach out.
Amazing. Some quick questions. So besides BMA, are there any other specific networking events that have a strong Colombian presence in Europe, for building bridges between one territory and the other? So obviously there is BMA in Europe, but are there any other European ones?
I think WOMEX is one that works a lot, and a lot of Colombian people go to WOMEX.
Okay.
And they have a
I
partner
don't
here
know.
is Circular.
Circular, exactly. Circular happens in Medellin. BOM happens in Bogota. I think those be the two biggest ones. Of course, BIME, WOMEX there, Medium. I don't know if Medium still's happening or not, but it used to
Back.
work a lot. I think they're back, right? Yeah. Yeah, I would say those are the ones where there's more coming and going of artists and music.
That's great.
There's a lot of festivals, like traditional music festivals that can be also interesting to visit.
Do you want to recommend any?
There's the Carnaval de Barranquilla, there's in Cali,
Festival Vallenato.
el Festival Vallenato, el Festival del Porro, el Festival de la Cumbia en Mato. There's a bunch.
That's more like a fun experience. I don't know if you're gonna get any booking there, but you're gonna enjoy it for sure.
And of course, Petronia is also a fun experience. No, the biggest festival, not to get booked, but to get hearts. You know.
Last question, and it's a little bit involved, but you can answer with a yes or no, I guess. Why do you think there's no reggaeton scene in Bogota like in Medellin, or like Bogota's alternative and pop scene? Would you recommend for a collective of artists touring in bars, or is it just not worth it?
Okay, I think in the thing that Bogota is not our urban scene. I don't think so. I think that maybe Bogota is huge and there is a place for any kind of genre. So urban music is maybe like born here in Colombia from Medellin. This is true, and there is a lot of producers there, and there is a lot of a scene like pushing this scene to the rest of the world. That is a nice thing, but also in Bogota, our urban scene, actually there is more maybe hip hop or rap or more alternative a scene regarding the urban side, not only reggaeton, than other kind of urban music also. So I think there is for everyone here in Bogota. You can bring whatever kind of music, and it will work pretty sure. So in that side of the question, the other question was going to bars, something like that.
Would you recommend for a collective of artists touring in bars, or is it just not worth it?
I don't know if anyone can help on that.
Extremely tight numbers. I don't think it's worth it. I mean, the very small bar scene is not that positive. There are better venues that we mentioned, like Felipe said in Medellin, La Pascasia. No, it's a smaller venue. Indie. It's better to go that way.
Okay. Cool. That is all of our questions answered. Thank you so much for all of your insights. And I can't wait to visit Colombia. Super collaborative, spontaneous, exciting scene by the sounds of it. So
thank you so much.
Good to
hope
have
to
you
see
here
you.
sometime.
Hope to see you in Colombia.
Thank you.
Yes,
Join us.
most
Thank
welcome.
Muchas
you.
gracias a
Thank you so much.
todos.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Ciao, ciao.
Gracias, chao, chao.
Gracias.
Bye.